Okay, gentlemen, today we're going to look at the midpoint formula. Just as a review from last class, we talked about the distance formula, which we see right here. As we can see, it's just like the Pythagorean theorem, except instead of A, we have change in X. Instead of B, we have change in Y, and then the C is my hypotenuse, which is my distance. Right? So we saw that the other day before the test in Desmos and in class. And in class, we saw how that formula is just like our standard form for the equation of a circle. Right? Just like we see here, the x minus h is like my change in x, and the y minus k is my change in y. The h and the k are my center of my circle, the coordinates for the center, and then the r is the radius, which is the hypotenuse in our case. Okay, good. So now the last formula we need is a midpoint formula. The key word here is it's basically just an average of my x's and my y's. The first case we'll look at is kind of a simple one. We're just going to look at it as if it were on a line segment. So just on a regular number line, all you need to do very simply, take the A, take the B, or take the 2 points, take the two numbers, and divide by 2. Just a very basic average. So we see a nice quick example. Find the midpoint of the line segment with endpoints -9 and 3. If we take the two of those, we add them and divide by 2. Very simply, we get -6 over 2, which we obviously know is -3, which is my answer for the midpoint on a line segment. Very simple. Now, next, how do we do it if it's ordered pairs, so coordinates on a coordinate plane? Well, here's our formula. You take your A value of your, or the x value of your first term, and then the x value of your second point, right? So the x value of your first point, the x value of your second point, add them up, and then you have the y value of your first point and the y value of your second point, and then those are added up on the second, on the y value. So essentially, again, it's an average of the x's, there's your new x, the average of the y's, there's your new y. So, two quick examples. Find the midpoint of the line segment on a coordinate plane with those two endpoints, -5, 2, and 3, 7. First, we look at the x's. So we have a -5 and a 3. Those are my two x points for my 2 points. So I'm going to add them up and divide by 2. I also need my y's, which are 2 and 7. I add those up and divide by 2. The two of them combined, that's my midpoint. That is my x, my new x in red, and my new y in blue. Now it's very simple. -5 plus 3 over 2 and 2 plus 7 over 2. We have -2 over 2 and 9 over 2. And then we get -1 and 9 over 2, or you can write it as 4.5. So both are correct, right? You can see that both of those are correct. Either 9 over 2 or 4.5. They're the same. Another example, again, we take our x points of my 2 points, my -4 and my 3. Those are both my x's. I add those up, divide by 2. I look at my y's, which are 7 and 5. Add those up, divide by 2. And that makes up my new xy of my midpoint. So -4 plus 3 over 2. And 7 plus -5 over 2 gives me my -1/2, comma 2 over 2, right? And now if we simplify that, we get -1/2, comma 1, or 0.5 over 1, right? Obviously the decimal, they're both equivalent. Okay, so gentlemen, you have an assignment to do after this. Nice quick little lesson today, and then work on your assignment.